Hey everyone, how's it going? I wanted to give my quick thoughts on Crysis 3, the announcement. Some things I would like them to include in the game, some things that, just in comparison to Crysis 1 and, between Crysis 1 and Crysis 2, that I thought they could have improved upon, and so on and so forth. So basically, if you haven't heard, Crysis 3 got officially announced today. It was teased, sort of like a teaser announcement on Origin. There was an ad for it, but now, basically EA and Crytek have officially announced Crysis, Crysis 3. And here's what they have to say about it. Now, right off the bat, I have to say that I'm slightly disappointed. And the reason behind that is, you know, uh, just from the main game cover, you can see, a bunch of buildings. It basically takes place in New York once more, which is, a little bit disappointing since basically when Crysis 2 came out, um, I didn't find it to be as good as the first Crysis. I actually liked the first Crysis in terms of story and in terms of, just overall, how the environments were layered out. I liked it more than Crysis 2, and the reason was is because Crysis was a sandbox shooter. Go wherever you want. It was basically, here you are on this island. Your goal is to get to this part of, the island. How you get there is up to you. You can either drive there, you can swim there sometimes, you can go to different parts of the island basically, and that was fun, just exploring this humongous open world and the beautiful graphics of the first Crysis that it had. It was incredible. And then Crysis 2 came out and it was very linear. It was on this short path. It was much more story based, much more streamlined, and I think that's why Crysis 2 failed to impress me as much as the first Crysis. Now don't get me wrong, I think Crytek did a lot of things to improve the gameplay, which I actually really like. So, what it says here, that it basically takes place in New York once more, and it's coming out in spring 2013, so that'll make it exactly 2 years from Crysis 2's launch, which launched in March 2011. I think it was March 22nd or something like that, or March 21st. So pretty much, that's the generic development time, 2 years for a game, or something like that for a sequel. But basically, it takes place in New York once more, set in 2047. So about, I would say, 20 years since the first Crysis took place in 2020. Was it 2021 or 2023? Something like that. But the Crysis 3 takes place 20 years after that, and you're still playing as the same character who basically doesn't have. I'm sorry, the character's name was what was his name? Alcatraz. That's right. The character's name was Alcatraz, and what happened is at the end of the first Crysis, he basically changed his name to Prophet, who was the character from, or who was a supporting character in the first Crysis. You didn't actually get to play as him, but he was like your squad leader in the first Crysis. So now everyone calls him Prophet. Um, it says here he's on a revenge mission after uncovering the truth behind the Cell Corporation's motives for building the quarantine nanodomes. Basically, the Cell Corporation, the villains from the first game, built this whole dome over New York City with 7 different sectors or worlds, as they call it. It says they call them the Seven Wonders, all right? And it's different areas. Some are, urban. It says here, the New York Liberty Dome is a veritable urban rainforest teeming with overgrown trees, dense swamplands, and raging rivers. So a huge variety in locales. There's going to be 7 different locales in the game, but it's all going to take place in New York City. Right off the bat, I'm excited that they actually announced they did call this the sandbox shooter returns. So finally, just by them saying that, you already know it's going to be kind of open world, go wherever you want, and get to your objective however you want, just like the first Crysis. So that obviously is going to help the gameplay a lot. Now, that being said, as far as changes, they got a bow and arrow now, which I think will make it pretty cool. It'll be like Turok kind of, where you're hunting in the jungle. I think that will vary up the gameplay and make it a little bit more tactical, and definitely help in combat of taking off enemies. Some things I'd like them to improve. Well, as a person who's Crysis 2 was the first. I'm sorry, Crysis Warhead was the first Crysis I played. Then I played Crysis 2 on consoles. Then I played the first Crysis when I built my new gaming PC, and then I went ahead and basically I bought Crysis 2 on the PS3, switched it to Xbox, and then switched it to PC. Currently right now I have it on PC, but the uh, the thing about the Crysis console versions is that the frame rate was just inconsistent. All right, it ran at a very at best it ran at 30 frames per second, and it was at sometimes it was. I wasn't saying the frame rate was bad, but I'm saying that a lot of times it would dip, and it would dip to 27, 25, sometimes even 20, two. Never to the point where it was unplayable, but just to the point where it was annoying. It would happen a lot, and literally every big gunfight, there would be some drop in frame rate, and that's due to just the consoles not being able to power that kind of graphical power. Because Crysis is known for beautiful graphics, and they succeeded in bringing the best looking Xbox 360 game to date with Crysis 2, and now I'm hoping that with the new Crysis CryEngine 3.4, it's going to be more efficient, meaning that maybe it will run the frame rate a little bit better on consoles. I mean, that's the thing. If they can improve the frame rate to the point where it's a consistent 30 frames per second with no drop, I think I'll have a lot of fun. But that was just one of the annoying things I had with the first Crysis. Second is the AI seemed to magically know where you were sometimes. Like that level where you have to jump off the building. I think it's called No Man's Land, or wait, something like that, or something weird. Where you basically have to jump off the building, and there's combat on rooftops, and you have to basically get in to use the nanosuit decoder thing. When I was on that first building where there's like the sniper, there's the guy, and then there's the other guy over there behind the solar panels. For some reason, I take out those two guys, the sniper and the gunman, and the guy behind the solar panels would all of a sudden know where I was. So he would start shooting me through the solar panels. It's like, how would you see me through a solar panel? It doesn't make any sense. I think that they can improve the AI a lot. The aliens were smart, but it's just that the humans seemed stupid, and sometimes they would do stupid things. It's just how basically they would see you when basically there's no way that they could possibly see you. That's something that I'd like them to improve. But other than that, Crysis 3 been announced. I'm excited. Again, spring 2013 release. Good. It says right here. Fight in the New York Liberty Dome. Exploit 7 natural wonders. So basically, large dome like the Simpsons movie, and 7 worlds within that dome, or 7 different type of locales, and wield advanced alien weaponry. So basically, new weapons and your bow and arrow, which doesn't seem alien at all, but and an ultimate sandbox shooter. So basically, sandbox shooter. It's open world. Do whatever you want. Yeah, that is it. That's all I wanted to tell you guys. Just give my give my thoughts on it, and just let you guys know what I think. Am I going to be getting the game? Hell yeah! I think Crysis is one of the best series out there. I'm definitely getting on PC if they can launch it. Hopefully they'll launch it with DirectX 11 support, unlike Crysis 2, and that'll be nice in terms of graphics, because I mean Crysis 2 on my GTX 560 Ti overclocked. It ran at probably every setting turned on high, the high-res textures, DirectX 11, and in 1080p, probably ran about 45, 50 frames per second, which is pretty good considering. The first Crysis also ran like about that frame rate, which is really well. So I'm really excited to see graphically what they're capable of doing. There's some pictures and stuff. If you want to read more about it, I'll leave a link in the description. And then there'll also be a second link for some pictures if you just want to look at that. All right, guys. So thanks, and yeah.